Captain Do-hyun Kim rubbed his tired eyes as bright lights flashed across the main screen of the Pathfinder. The ship had just completed its first jump, using the new faster-than-light drive. His heart beat fast in his chest. If it worked, they had just made history. "Status report," he said, his voice steady despite his excitement. "All systems working, Captain," said June, the young navigation officer. "The FTL drive is cooling down. We've traveled much farther than we planned." Do-hyun nodded. The Pathfinder was Earth's most advanced ship built to explore deep space. This was supposed to be a short test jump just past Mars, but the readings on the screen showed they were far beyond their solar system. This was not part of the plan. "Where are we?" he asked. June tapped on his screen. "Unknown, sir. None of the stars match our charts. I think we're at least 50 light-years from Earth." The crew fell silent. They were the first humans to travel this far into space. It would take years to return home using normal engines if the FTL drive failed. "Captain," called Yeona, the sensor officer. Her voice shook slightly. "I'm picking up artificial structures ahead. Many of them. They appear to be ships." Do-hyun stood up from his chair. "Ships? Are you certain?" "Yes, sir. At least 20 of them. Different sizes. All moving in formation." The main screen changed to show what looked like a fleet of strange vessels. They were unlike anything built on Earth, some shaped like discs, others like giant diamonds or long tubes with rings. They gleamed under the light of a distant star. "We've found them," whispered Min-ho, the science officer. "After all these years wondering if we were alone, we finally have our answer." Do-hyun felt a mix of wonder and fear. First contact with alien life was humanity's greatest dream. It was also potentially its greatest danger. "All stations, maintain calm," he ordered. "This is what we trained for. Yeona, any signs they've noticed us?" "They've changed course, sir," she replied. "A small group is breaking off from the main fleet. They're heading our way." Do-hyun made his decision quickly. "Open all communication channels, broadcast the first contact message in all formats." The message was simple. Mathematical sequences, basic pictures, and friendly greetings in all Earth languages. It was designed to show peaceful intentions. "No response, sir," said Hana, the communications officer. "But they're still approaching. 5 ships moving slowly." "That's good," said Do-hyun. "Slow means careful, not aggressive. Keep broadcasting." The alien ships grew larger on the screen. The lead ship was beautiful, a blue-white oval that seemed to glow from within. As it came closer, the Pathfinder's systems began to beep urgently. "Captain, they're scanning us," said Yeona. "The energy readings are very strong, stronger than anything we use." The ship's AI voice suddenly filled the bridge. "Warning, unknown. Energy signature detected. Activating defense protocol." "No!" shouted Do-hyun. "Override defense protocol. Authorization Kim Alpha 7. It was too late. The Pathfinder's automatic defense system, designed to protect against space debris and radiation, had detected the alien scan as a potential threat. A shimmering bubble appeared around the ship, its quantum shield deploying without orders. On the screen, the alien ship suddenly changed position. Their movements became quick and sharp. "They're taking defensive positions," said Min-ho, who had studied Earth military tactics. "They think we're preparing to attack." "Keep broadcasting the peace message," ordered Do-hyun. "Shut down the shield." "System!" "The system isn't responding," said June, typing frantically. "The AI has locked us out." A flash of light came from the lead alien ship. A beam of energy, perhaps a warning shot, passed near the Pathfinder. The ship's AI spoke again. "Hostile action detected, deploying countermeasure." Before anyone could react, a small object launched from the Pathfinder's lower deck. It was a defensive drone, designed to intercept incoming threats. But the drone was powered by Earth's new quantum technology, which worked differently than any weapon the aliens had seen before. The drone sped toward the alien ships, then split into 3 smaller parts. Each part released a pulse of energy that wrapped around 3 of the alien vessels. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, Their lights flickered and went out. The ships drifted, dead in space. A moment later, all three exploded in silent bursts of light. Horror filled the bridge of the Pathfinder. "What just happened?" Do-hyun asked, his voice barely a whisper. "The quantum field from our drone," explained Minho, checking the readings. "It must have interacted with their power systems in a way we couldn't predict. It caused a cascade failure. The remaining two alien ships turned and accelerated away faster than any Earthship could move. The larger fleet in the distance began to change formation, spreading out in what looked like a battle pattern. "They're sending a message," said Hana. "Not words, but a data burst. It's being broadcast in all directions." "They're warning the others about us," said Do-hyun, sinking back into his chair. "We just killed their people. They think it was deliberate." For several long minutes, the bridge was silent as everyone realized what had happened. Humanity's first contact with alien life had ended in disaster. Not because of aggression, but because of a terrible misunderstanding. "Captain, the alien fleet is moving," reported Yona. "More ships are arriving from different directions. They'll surround us soon." Do-hyun made the hardest decision of his life. "Prepare the FTL drive for emergency jump back to Earth coordinates." "But sir," protested June, "we need at least an hour to safely—" "We don't have an hour," said Do-hyun firmly. "If we stay, we'll either be destroyed or captured. We need to warn Earth about what just happened." As the crew rushed to prepare for the dangerous jump, Do-hyun recorded a message explaining everything. If they didn't survive the jump, at least the ship's beacon might someday reach Earth with the recording. "This is Captain Do-hyun Kim of the Pathfinder," he began. "We have made first contact with an advanced alien civilization due to a terrible accident. We have also committed an act of war against them. 3 of their ships were destroyed by our defensive systems. They believe we attacked them on purpose." He paused, looking at the growing number of alien ships approaching. On the screen, "They are technologically advanced and clearly part of a large coalition. They will likely see all humans as a threat now. Earth must prepare. We are attempting to return to warn you in person, but if we don't make it, remember this. The misunderstanding was caused by our different technologies. Perhaps understanding these differences is the key to fixing what we've broken." As the FTL drive hummed to life with dangerous energy levels, Do-hyun ended his recording and looked at his crew. They were young, brilliant, and now carried the weight of humanity's future on their shoulders. "Let's go home," he said quietly. "We have a war to prevent." The Pathfinder vanished in a flash of light, leaving behind a confused and angry alien fleet that was already spreading the word about the dangerous new species they had discovered. In distant corners of the galaxy, the Coalition Military Council received the warning. For the first time in 1,000 years, they prepared for war. Supreme Commander Taewon Park stood before the giant window in the Coalition's Grand Council chamber. From here, he could see hundreds of ships moving between the 5 giant space stations that formed the heart of the Coalition's military power. In his 30 years of service, he had never called an emergency meeting of the full military council. Until today. "They are ready for you, Commander," said his assistant. Taewon nodded and turned away from the window. The doors slid open, revealing the circular chamber where representatives of all 27 species in the Coalition waited. Some looked like tall insects, others like fish or reptiles. A few were made mostly of gases held in special suits. Despite their differences, all were now united by one thing: fear. "Honorable representatives," Taewon began, his voice firm and clear. 3 days ago, one of our patrol fleets encountered an unknown ship in Sector 7. This ship used a weapon we have never seen before. It destroyed 3 of our vessels in seconds. Worried whispers filled the room. Taewon raised his hand for silence. "I have asked Intelligence Officer Ji-eun Lee to present what we know about this new species." Ji-eun was young by Coalition standards, but her mind was sharp. She stepped forward and touched a control panel. A hologram appeared in the center of the room, showing the human ship. This vessel appeared suddenly using an unknown form of faster-than-light travel, she explained. Our patrol tried to make peaceful contact using standard greeting protocols. The alien ship responded by activating a strange energy field, and then attacked without warning. She showed a recording of the incident. The council members watched as the 3 coalition ships exploded. We have followed the energy trail of this ship back to its origin, Ji-yoon continued. It comes from a planet called Earth in a small star system at the edge of the Orion Arm. We sent stealth probes to study this world. The hologram changed to show images of Earth, cities, factories, people going about their daily lives. This species calls themselves humans. They are new to space, travel. Based on our observations, they should not have the technology to build a ship like the one that attacked us. Most of their vessels can barely reach their own moon. Then where did this advanced ship come from? Asked a representative with blue skin and 4 arms. That is what concerns us, replied Ji-yoon. Either they have been hiding their true capabilities, or they have made a technological leap that breaks all the patterns we have seen in developing species. Tae-won stepped forward again. What you need to understand is that this weapon they used, it should not be possible for a species at their development stage. It operated on principles our scientists do not fully understand. Are they truly a threat? Asked another representative, this one covered in short green fur. Perhaps it was a misunderstanding. One ship does not make an invasion force. Tae-won shook his head. We have been studying their communications. They are extremely divided and competitive, even among themselves. They show remarkable adaptability and resourcefulness. Their history is filled with conflicts that have driven rapid technological development. He paused, letting his next words sink in. If they can build one such ship, they can build more. Based on what we have seen of their aggressive nature and the power of their technology, I believe they represent an existential threat to the coalition. The council chamber erupted in debate. Some representatives called for immediate action, while others urged caution. In the corner of the room, scientist Han Jun-kang listened quietly. Unlike the others, he was fascinated rather than frightened by the humans. He had spent his career studying unusual technologies, and the readings from the human ship showed something truly unique. When the room quieted, Han Jun spoke up. May I suggest we capture one of their ships for study before taking any drastic action? Their technology operates on different principles than ours. We should understand it first. Tae-won frowned. And risk losing more ships? The patrol captain reported that their weapon passed right through our shields as if they weren't there. That's exactly my point, said Han Jun. It suggests their technology developed along a completely different path than ours. This is unprecedented. Ji-yoon displayed more images of Earth. Our probes have detected increased activity at their space facilities. The ship has returned to Earth. They are preparing for something. Tae-won turned to the council. We cannot wait. The humans now know we exist. If they are as aggressive as they appear, and they can build more ships with this technology, they could eventually threaten the entire coalition. We have maintained peace for 1,000 years through technological superiority. We cannot allow that advantage to disappear. The vote was quick. 25 of the 27 species voted to take immediate action against the human threat. Prepare the fleet, ordered Tae-won. We will neutralize this threat before it can grow. As the council members filed out, Han Jun approached Ji-yoon quietly. Something doesn't make sense, he said. If humans wanted war, why send just one ship? And why run away after destroying only 3 vessels? Ji-yoon looked at him with concern. Are you suggesting the attack was an accident? I'm suggesting we need more information, Han Jun replied. The energy readings from their ship showed defensive systems activating before the weapon was launched. What if their systems misinterpreted our standard scan as an attack? Even if that's true, it's too late, said Ji-yoon, nodding toward Tae-won, who was already giving orders to his commanders. The decision has been made. Han Jun watched as the strategic hologram displayed the massive coalition fleet that would soon head to Earth. Thousands of ships against one small planet that had barely begun to explore space. Then I need to work quickly, he said. If I can understand their technology, maybe I can find a way to defend against it without destroying their world. Be careful, warned Ji-yoon. The commander sees this as the greatest threat we've faced in generations. Anyone appearing too sympathetic to the humans will be suspected of disloyalty. Hanjun nodded grimly. I know, but destroying an entire species over a misunderstanding would violate everything the coalition stands for. As he left the chamber, Hanjun could see the massive warships beginning to move into formation. The coalition was preparing for war, with a species they barely understood, based on a single encounter with a single ship. In his lab, Hanjun studied the sensor readings from the human ship again and again. The energy signature was like nothing he had seen before. While the coalition's technology was based on manipulating standard energy fields, the human ship seemed to be using the quantum properties of space itself. Fascinating, he whispered. They're not more advanced. They're just different. They've taken a completely different path. He worked through the night, ignoring calls to join the war preparations. If he was right, the coalition was about to make a terrible mistake. They thought they were preventing a war. In reality, they might be starting one that neither side truly wanted. Outside his window, the first wave of the invasion fleet departed, their engines burning bright against the darkness of space. The attack on Earth had begun. The Pathfinder appeared just outside Earth's orbit in a flash of light. The dangerous emergency jump had worked, but the ship was damaged. Smoke filled the bridge as Captain Do-hyun Kim helped an injured crew member to her station. Send the emergency. Signal to Space Command, Do-hyun ordered. Tell them we need to speak to General Choi immediately. 6 hours later, Do-hyun stood in a large meeting room at Space Command headquarters. The walls were lined with screens showing military and government leaders from around the world. At the head of the table sat General Soo-jin Choi, her face serious as she watched the recording from the Pathfinder's encounter with the alien ships. When the recording ended, the room was silent for a long moment. So, said General Choi finally, we are not alone in the universe. And our first meeting with aliens ended with us accidentally killing some of them. Yes, General, said Do-hyun. It was a terrible misunderstanding. Our systems interpreted their scan as an attack and responded automatically. And you believe they will come here, to Earth? Do-hyun nodded. They think we attacked them on purpose. They will see us as a threat. Defense Minister Woo Jin-yoon spoke up from one of the screens. Perhaps we can communicate with them. Explain the misunderstanding. We tried, said Do-hyun. Our communication systems were not compatible. And after what happened, I doubt they'll be in a mood to listen. General Choi stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the lights of the city shone brightly against the night sky. Then we must prepare for the worst. Captain Kim, how advanced was their technology compared to ours? Very advanced in most ways, admitted Do-hyun. Their ships were faster and more numerous than anything we have. But strangely, our defensive drone was effective against them. It seems our quantum technology works differently than theirs. They weren't prepared for it. General Choi turned to face the room. Then that's our advantage. We need to understand exactly what happened and use it to defend Earth. The meeting lasted for hours as plans were made. By morning, the world's leaders had been informed, and a global state of emergency was declared. For the first time in human history, all nations agreed to work together against a common threat. Dr. Min Seo Kwon, Earth's leading expert on quantum physics, was brought to examine the Pathfinder. She spent days studying the data from the encounter. It's fascinating, she told General Choi and Captain Kim during a briefing 1 week later. The alien technology seems to be based on manipulating standard energy fields, similar to our conventional systems. But our newer quantum systems operate on completely different principles. Is that why our defensive drone was so effective against them? Asked Do-hyun. Dr. Kwon nodded excitedly. Exactly. Their shields were designed to block energy weapons, but our quantum field passed right through them. It disrupted their power systems at a fundamental level. They had no defense against it because they've never developed technology along that path. Can we use this to protect Earth? Asked General Choi. I believe so, said Dr. Kwon. If we can build enough quantum shield generators and equip our ships with modified versions of the defensive drones, we might have a chance. Defense Minister. Yoon joined the meeting via video. We've been broadcasting messages into space explaining the misunderstanding, but we've received no response. We must assume diplomatic solutions have failed. General Choi nodded grimly. Then we focus on defense. How quickly can we build more ships with this quantum technology? That's the problem, said Dr. Kwan. The Pathfinder was experimental. We only have a few prototypes of the quantum systems. Then we need to start mass production immediately, said General Choi. Every factory on Earth will work on this. We need shields, weapons, and ships. How long do we have before they might arrive? Do-hyun thought for a moment. Based on their technology, I would guess a few months at most. Then we have no time to waste. The next day, the world changed. For the first time in history, all TV channels, radio stations, and internet sites carried the same message. Earth was in danger, and everyone needed to help. Factories around the world stopped making cars, phones, and computers. Instead, they began building parts for quantum shields and weapons. Scientists and engineers worked day and night to understand and improve the technology from the Pathfinder. In orbit, construction began on a fleet of defensive ships. They weren't as advanced as the alien vessels in many ways, but they all carried the quantum systems that had proven effective. 2 months after the Pathfinder's return, the first alien scout ships were detected at the edge of the solar system. They didn't approach Earth directly, but seemed to be observing from a distance. "They're studying us," said Do-hyun during an emergency meeting. "Learning about our defenses before the main fleet arrives." "Are we ready?" asked Defense Minister. General Choi looked at the latest reports. "No, but we're making progress. We have 12 ships with quantum systems ready, and the planetary shield network is at 60%. "It won't be enough," said Do-hyun quietly. "It has to be," replied General Choi. A week later, Admiral Jae-hwan Ryu was appointed commander of Earth's new defense fleet. Though he had never fought a space battle, no human had, he was Earth's most experienced naval commander. "Our ships are smaller and fewer," he told his captains during their first briefing. "But we have one advantage, our quantum technology. We will use it to defend our home." As the fleet prepared, Dr. Kwan made an important discovery. She rushed into General Choi's office one night, her eyes wide with excitement. "I've been analyzing the data from the coalition ships," she said breathlessly. "Their technology isn't just different from ours. It's completely incompatible. Our quantum fields don't just pass through their shields, they create a cascade effect in their power systems." "What does that mean for us?" asked General Choi. "Means our weapons are far more effective against them than we thought. One hit from a quantum drone could disable or destroy a much larger alien ship." For the first time in months, General Choi smiled. "That's good news. But do you think they've figured this out too? Will they have developed defenses?" "I don't think so," said Dr. Kwan. "Based on the scout ships we've detected, they're still using the same technology. They don't understand our quantum systems yet." That night, as Earth continued its preparations, long-range sensors detected a massive energy surge at the edge of the solar system. The main alien fleet had arrived, hundreds of ships, far more than Earth's small fleet could match in a direct battle. On the bridge of Earth's flagship, the newly commissioned Defender, Captain Do-hyun Kim looked at the tactical display with Admiral Ryu. "They're spreading out," said Do-hyun, "surrounding the planet." Admiral Ryu nodded. "Classic encirclement. They want to attack from all sides at once." "What are your orders, Admiral?" Ryu studied the display for a long moment. "Have all ships form defensive positions, activate the planetary shield network, and send one last message trying to explain the misunderstanding." "Do you think they'll listen this time?" asked Do-hyun. "Probably not," admitted Ryu. "But we have to try. We don't want this war any more than they do." As the message was sent, Earth's defenders watched and waited. The coalition fleet continued to advance, ignoring the plea for peace. The battle for Earth was about to begin. The coalition fleet filled Earth's sky with strange shapes. Over 500 alien ships surrounded the planet, their weapons charged and ready. Inside each ship, alien crews prepared for what they thought would be an easy victory over a primitive world. On the bridge of the coalition command ship, Supreme Commander Taewon Park studied the holographic display of Earth's defenses. They have only 23 ships, he said to Intelligence Officer Jiun Lee. This will be quick. Jiun wasn't so sure. Sir, our scouts report that the humans have developed some kind of planetary shield. It appears to use the same technology as the ship that attacked our patrol. Can our weapons penetrate it? We don't know, she admitted. We've never seen technology quite like this before. Taewon frowned. It doesn't matter. No planetary shield can withstand the combined firepower of our fleet. He pressed a button on his command chair. All ships, begin the attack. Aboard the Earth flagship Defender, Admiral J. Huan Ryu watched as the alien fleet began to move. They're attacking from all sides, just as we expected, he said calmly. Captain Kim, are the quantum shields at full power? Do-hyun checked his screen. Yes, Admiral. Planetary shields are at 85% capacity. It's not perfect, but it's the best we could do with the time we had. Admiral Ryu nodded. It will have to be enough. He turned to his communications. Officer, send the order to all ships. Defensive formation Delta. Do not fire unless fired upon. The small Earth fleet moved into position, spreading out to cover the gaps in the planetary shield. They were vastly outnumbered, but each ship carried multiple quantum drones, the same technology that had accidentally destroyed 3 coalition ships during first contact. The coalition attack began with a barrage of energy weapons. Beams of light struck Earth's new planetary shield, creating ripples of blue energy across the atmosphere. The shield held, but it began to weaken in several spots. Shield power dropping at points 7 and 12, reported a technician at Earth's Defense Control Center. General Choi watched the battle from the center's main screen. Direct our ships to reinforce those areas, she ordered. In space, Admiral Ryu's fleet moved to protect the weakening shield sections. The coalition ships, seeing the movement, focused their fire on the human vessels. Enemy ships approaching. From Sector 3, reported Do-hyun on the Defender. They're targeting us directly. Activate point defense systems, ordered Admiral Ryu. Launch quantum drones only if they get too close. The coalition ships fired again. This time, their energy beams hit the Defender's quantum shield directly. The shield flickered but held. Their weapons are powerful, said Do-hyun. But our quantum shields are deflecting most of the energy. Admiral Ryu studied the tactical display. They're testing us, learning how our defenses work. He pointed to a large group of coalition ships moving toward the planet's southern hemisphere. They're looking for weak spots. On his command ship, Taewon Park was growing frustrated. Why aren't their shields failing? He demanded. Our weapons should be overwhelming them. Sir, said Ji-un, the human shields appear to be absorbing our energy attacks and redirecting the power. Impossible. No shield technology works that way. In his laboratory aboard the command ship, scientist Han Jun Kang studied the readings from the human defenses with growing amazement. It's not impossible, he whispered to himself. It's just different. Han Jun had spent months studying the data from the first encounter. Now, watching the battle unfold, his theories were being confirmed. The humans weren't using conventional energy shields. They were using quantum fields that could absorb energy and redirect it. He rushed to the bridge. Commander, we need to stop the attack. Taewon turned in surprise. Scientist Kang, what are you doing on the bridge? Sir, I've been studying the human technology. Their defenses don't work like ours. The more energy we direct at them, the stronger they become. They can redirect our attacks back at us. Before Taewon could respond, the tactical officer shouted, Sir, human ships are launching small objects, similar to the weapon used against our patrol. Evasive maneuvers, ordered Taewon. All ships, avoid those drones at all costs. But it was too late for some. The quantum drones raced toward the closest coalition ships. When they made contact, they didn't explode. Instead, they created quantum fields around the alien vessels. Ship after ship lost power, their systems overloaded by the unfamiliar technology. We've lost 15 ships already, reported the tactical officer, and more are being disabled every minute. Taewon couldn't believe what he was seeing. His superior fleet was being decimated by a much smaller force. "Order the fleet to fall back and regroup," he commanded. "We need a new strategy." As the coalition ships retreated to a safer distance, Admiral Ryu ordered his fleet not to pursue. "Hold positions," he said. "Protect the planetary shield." Do-hyun looked at him in surprise. "We have them on the run, Admiral. Shouldn't we press the advantage?" "No," said Ryu firmly. "Our mission is to defend Earth, not to destroy their fleet, and we still don't know what other weapons they might have." The battle paused as both sides reassessed their strategies. In the coalition fleet, Tae-wan called an emergency meeting of his ship commanders. "Their technology is more dangerous than we thought," he told them. "Our conventional weapons are ineffective against their quantum shields. We need to adapt." "Sir," suggested one commander, "we could use the gravity disruptors. They don't use energy that could be redirected." Tae-wan nodded. "Prepare all gravity weapons. We'll hit them from multiple angles at once. They can't shield the entire planet." Back on Earth, Dr. Minseo Kwan detected the change in the coalition fleet's energy signatures. "They're powering up different weapons," she told General Choi via emergency communication. "Based on the readings, they appear to be some kind of gravity-based technology." General Choi relayed this information to Admiral Ryu. "Can our quantum shields protect against gravity weapons?" "They were never designed for that," admitted Dr. Kwan. "I don't know how effective they'll be." Admiral Ryu considered their options. "We need to strike first," he decided. "Captain Kim, target their largest ships, the ones powering up these new weapons. We can't let them fire." The Defender and 3 other Earth ships broke formation and accelerated toward the coalition command ship. They launched a wave of quantum drones targeting the largest enemy vessels. On his bridge, Tae-wan saw the attack coming. "Activate all point defenses. Don't let those drones reach us." The coalition ships fired defensive weapons, destroying many of the approaching drones. But some got through. When they reached Tae-wan's command ship, the vessel shuddered as its Kyo systems began to fail. "Power levels dropping," shouted the engineering officer. "Main engines offline. Weapon systems failing." Tae-wan gripped his command chair as the lights flickered and died. Emergency systems came online, providing minimal power. His mighty command ship, the pride of the coalition fleet, was now drifting helplessly in space. Instead of pressing the attack and destroying the disabled command ship, Captain Do-hyun Kim made a bold decision. "Admiral," he said, "request permission to attempt direct communication with the disabled command ship." Admiral Ryu hesitated. "You want to talk to them now?" "Yes, sir. Their communication systems should still work on emergency power. This might be our only chance to explain the misunderstanding before more lives are lost." After a moment, Ryu nodded. "Very well, Captain, but be ready to withdraw immediately if they respond with hostility." The Defender moved alongside the drifting coalition command ship. Do-hyun sent a simple message in all formats, hoping their translators would work. "We wish to speak. We never wanted war." On the darkened bridge of his ship, Tae-wan was shocked to see the human vessel approach without firing. When the message came through, he looked at Ji-eun. "It could be a trick," he said. "Or it could be the truth," she replied quietly. "Remember how scientist Kang suggested the first attack might have been a misunderstanding?" Tae-wan thought for a long moment. His ship was defenseless. The humans could destroy it easily. Yet instead they were trying to talk. "Respond to their message," he finally ordered. "Tell them I will listen." The battle for Earth had reached a turning point. For the first time since the disastrous first contact, humans and aliens were ready to talk instead of fight. Supreme Commander Tae-wan Park never imagined he would set foot on the planet he had come to destroy. Yet here he was, walking down a ramp from a small shuttle onto Earth's soil. Around him stood tall buildings and trees under a blue sky, a world not so different from many in the coalition. 6 armed human guards stood watching him, their faces serious but not hostile. Beside him walked intelligence officer Ji-eun Lee and scientist Han-jun Kang. "Remember," said Ji-eun quietly, "this could still be a trap. If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done so when our ship was disabled, replied Taiwan. I think Scientist Kang was right. This whole conflict might have been a misunderstanding. A woman in a military uniform approached them. I'm General Su Jin Choi of Earth's Defense Force. Welcome to our planet, Commander Park. Taiwan nodded stiffly. You speak our language? No, said General Choi. Our scientists created a translation device based on the communications we've received from your fleet. It's not perfect, but it allows us to talk. That's impressive, admitted Taiwan. You developed this technology in just a few months? We learn quickly when we need to, said General Choi. Please follow me. Our leaders are waiting. They were led to a large building and into a conference room. Around a table sat several humans, including a man Taiwan recognized from the battle. The captain of the human ship that had first encountered the coalition. Defense Minister Woo Jin-yoon stood to greet them. Thank you for agreeing to these talks, Commander Park. I am Defense Minister Yoon. This is Captain Do-hyun Kim, commander of the Pathfinder, the ship that made first contact with your people. Taiwan looked at Do-hyun with surprise. You are the one who attacked our patrol? Do-hyun met his gaze steadily. No, Commander. As we've been trying to explain, that was a terrible accident. Our defensive systems misinterpreted your scan as an attack and responded automatically. We never intended to harm your ships. Han-jun stepped forward eagerly. Commander, I've been studying their technology. Their defensive systems operate on quantum principles that are completely different from ours. When our scan interacted with their shield, it created a cascade effect that their ship's AI interpreted as a threat. Defense Minister Yoon nodded. We've prepared a complete technical explanation. But the simple truth is this. We never wanted war. We were as shocked by what happened as you were. Taiwan looked around the room at the humans. They didn't look like the aggressive, dangerous species he had imagined. They looked concerned, hopeful, and tired, just like his own people after months of preparing for war. If this was truly an accident, said Taiwan slowly, why didn't you try to communicate with us after it happened? We did, said Captain Kim. But our communication systems weren't compatible, and we needed to return to Earth quickly to warn our people and prepare our defenses. We've been broadcasting messages explaining the misunderstanding ever since, but we don't think you received them. Ji-yoon spoke up. We didn't. Our communication protocols are very different. We would have filtered out unfamiliar signals as background noise. For the next several hours, the humans and aliens shared information. Dr. Min Seo-kwan explained how Earth's quantum technology worked, showing diagrams and data. Han-jun was fascinated, asking questions and taking notes. It's extraordinary, he said finally. Our civilizations developed along completely different technological paths. Where we mastered standard energy manipulation, humans explored quantum mechanics. Neither approach is more advanced. They're just different. As the day went on, the tension in the room gradually eased. When food was brought in, the humans and aliens cautiously shared a meal together. Taiwan was surprised to find some Earth foods quite similar to those from his homeworld. By evening, the basics of a peace agreement had been outlined. The coalition fleet would withdraw to a safe distance, and Earth would deactivate its planetary defenses as a show of good faith. Teams of scientists from both sides would work together to develop better communication systems and to understand each other's technology. This could have ended very differently, said Defense Minister Yoon as the meeting concluded. If Captain Kim hadn't made the decision to try communicating with your disabled ship, we might still be fighting. Taewon nodded. And if I hadn't agreed to listen, the coalition would have continued its attack until one side was destroyed. Sometimes the hardest thing is to stop and talk, said General Choi, especially when you're afraid. The next day, Taewon returned to his repaired command ship. The coalition fleet began its withdrawal, not as defeated enemies but as potential new allies. On every ship, crews watched the blue planet grow smaller with very different feelings than they had felt upon arrival. 1 year later, a new ship hung in orbit around Earth. The Harmony was unlike any vessel ever built before, a combination of human quantum technology and coalition energy systems. It was larger than any previous Earth ship, but smaller than the Coalition's massive command vessels. Its hull gleamed silver and blue in the sunlight. On the observation deck, Captain Do-hyun Kim stood next to Commander Tae-won Park, watching Earth below. They both wore the new uniform of the Joint Space Exploration Initiative, a program created to share knowledge between humans and the Coalition. "It's hard to believe it's been only a year since we were trying to destroy each other," said Taiwan. Do-hyun nodded. "And now we're about to welcome 27 new alien species to Earth for the signing of the Galactic Charter." Below them, ships from across the galaxy were arriving for the historic meeting. Each carried representatives from different Coalition worlds, coming to officially welcome humanity into the galactic community. In a large hall prepared for the occasion, humans and aliens gathered together. Defense Minister Yoon and Intelligence. Officer Ji-yoon had worked for months to create the Galactic Charter, a new agreement that would replace the old Coalition. It recognized the right of all species to develop in their own way, and promised cooperation rather than domination. Dr. Kwon and scientist Han Jun had led the technical exchange program, helping both sides understand each other's science. Already, new technologies were being developed that combined both approaches. Quantum-enhanced energy systems were more efficient than anything either civilization had created alone. Medical advances were saving lives on all worlds. As the leaders of Earth and the 27 alien worlds signed the charter, Admiral Jae-hwan Ryu stood beside General Choi at the back of the hall. "One ship," he said quietly. "One accidental encounter changed everything." General Choi smiled. "For the better, it seems. We thought we were alone in the universe. They thought they knew everything about it. We both had a lot to learn." On the Harmony, Captain Kim and Commander Park watched the ceremony on a large screen. When it was complete, all ships in orbit around Earth lit up their engines in celebration, creating a beautiful display of lights visible from the planet below. "What happens next?" asked Taiwan. Do-hyun looked at the stars beyond Earth. "We explore together. The Harmony leaves next week for its first mission, to search for other civilizations that might have developed technologies neither of us has imagined. And if we find them? We'll be careful to introduce ourselves properly," said Do-hyun with a smile. "No misunderstandings this time." Tae-won laughed. "I think we've all learned that lesson." As the Harmony prepared for its historic mission, the HFY story of how one human ship accidentally started and then ended a war with the galaxy became a legend told on every world. It reminded all species that understanding was more powerful than fear, and that different wasn't the same as dangerous. The universe was bigger and more wonderful than anyone had imagined, filled with endless possibilities. And now, they would explore it together.